Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going with, again, another Is It Worth It? The REMUS GATSBY Reserve 15-year-old, 98.1 proof. Is it worth the MSRP? Is it as good as the 5 or the 6 or the 7? Is it worth hunting? Stay tuned and find out. Welcome back. Today, like I said, we're talking about the REMUS GATSBY Reserve 15-year-old 98.1 proof bourbon whiskey. I got this from a mom and pop shop up where I live, Discount Drinks. I was walking in the other day, probably about 5 or 6 days ago now. And I looked around and I was like, what am I going to review? What are they? I had to put on my glasses, you know, getting older and all that. And I went, is that a REMUS GATSBY? They're like, yes, it is. I'll take that. And another barrel proof Elijah Craig. Thank you. Walked out with it and was excited. Now, I know MSRP on this is $199 to $250, and yes, I did pick it up for $249 plus tax here in Michigan. But to even just to find one was like, I was not expecting that. Normally, these are, as per all the whiskey YouTubers out there, super hard to find. So when I got it, I was like, of course I got to open it up. So I opened it up, had a little, I'm like, oh, that's really good. Let it kind of open up a day or two, and then compared it to the 5, which I'll get to. Let's first get into this one. We know it's 15 years, so it could go 15 plus. We know it's from Ross and Squibb, formerly MGP, and on the back it says, a legendary sip. How about a sip of something legendary? Old Sport. Crafted with the finest 15-year-old reserves, the ultra-limited cask-strength REMUS GATSBY Reserve Straight Bourbon celebrates F. Scott Fitzgerald's iconic novel, The Great Gatsby. From its events in 1922 to its publication in 1925. Legend has it, Fitzgerald's title character, J. Gatsby, was inspired by the king of the bootleggers himself. Some say Fitzgerald and Remus' fortuitous 1918 meeting began in the drums of destiny. Others believe Fitzgerald gathered plenty of information and influence from Remus' many newspaper exposés that were out. In any case, one thing's for sure. It's a legendary story that calls for a regularly, equally legendary sip. Cheers, be legendary. So, got a little bit into the history, got it in a bottle. That cap is, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, solid brass. I mean, it is, plus when you open it up, I hope you can hear this. That's a hell of a pop, I'm not gonna lie. Plus it's got a really cool logo embossed on the top. Just, honestly, you want noir, nostalgia, 1920s, that bottle screams it. It really does. Okay, we got a little bit in the bottle, a little bit of history like I always say. What's the juice like inside? Let's get into the first nose. Rich. It has a richness, depth, deep character. Right off the rip, when I had this, reminded me so much of the REMUS Repeal 5. That deep, dark caramels, vanilla beans. This one has a weird, almost like a old school Hubba Bubba. I know it sounds weird. Hubba Bubba bubblegum, pink. That's what that reminds me of. And a slight oak note, but it's rich and dark. I don't know if you can see it, but for 15 years old, for $250, it's definitely clinging to the glass. This has been out for about 20, 25 minutes, my usual, but she's clinging to the glass. Got a little bit of the bottle, the history, the nose. Let's get into our first taste. Right off the rip, you get a vanilla, red fruit, but not a dark red fruit. This is more lighter, like a light raspberry, a strawberry, but a red fruit. Definitely different. Definitely like almost like a maraschino. To me, a maraschino cherry. That light, fruity, sugary note. Kentucky Hug is here, and it just wispy, but it's a gentle wispy. It's not like here, boom, blossom. It's here, boom, and just kind of like it's putting roots out in your chest. and a little bit of cinnamon on the back end. Coats the mouth. It is very delicious mouth coating. That's the best words I can give for this. Of course, being $250 is a very expensive bottle. Let's go for a second taste. You get the oak, rich caramel. Now it hits the back. That cinnamon hits the back of the throat and drops down like a curtain on the night. If you've ever been to a play, it's good. It's very good. Question: is it $250 good? Is it better than the 5, the 6, and the 7, the REMUS repeals? Yes. Now, as compared to the 5, they were neck and neck. Taste-wise, the only difference I'll give it to the 5 is it's 100 proof. This is 98.1. So you get a little more viscosity on the tongue with the 5. The 6 and the 7 fell far, far short to this. Is it worth the $250? No. I'll be bluntly honest. No, it's not. If you can get a 2-ounce pour in a bar, definitely go for it. As long as it's not ridiculously expensive, like $70, $80, or even $50 or $60. If it's like a $20 2-ounce pour, yeah. Maybe $25 or $30, yeah. Is it worth the $250? No. What do I think it should be? $150. But then again, we all know that the 7 is bumping up into that $140, $150 range. Is this better than the 7? Oh, by far. Definitely. Is it worth $250 like I said? No. More like $150. If the REMUS repeals were to come back down to that 80 to 100, and this was to be like 150 to 170-ish, yeah, I could see that. There are far more better aged bourbons out there for this price and down. Honestly, the Russell's Reserve, even if you can get that for $200, cheaper than this. We know it's 13 plus. There is the K. Luca, which I'm going to do, batch 7. I know that's about 10 years. I'm looking right over there, the one I'm going to do a review of. The Lucky 7, the holdup, 14 years. Got that for $100. That is a delicious caramel bomb. So there are different ones out there. Like even look at the Calumet that you can still find on shelves, which is $140. It's 16 years old. But if you can get this, try it. Let me know. Like, comment below. Have you had this or the 5 or the 6 or the 7? Let me know what you think. I'm going to be also putting this when I reach that 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to put this in the mix with the old Fit 17 and some other bottles out there. So we're going to, when we get to that point, I'll set them out there. And so when we do the live, this is what I'm going to do. These 3 or 4 or even 5 bottles when I get to 1,000 and do a 2-ounce pour and send them out to the subscribers. And honestly, let me know what you think. Okay, my name is Brian. This is the Average Whiskey Drinker channel. Like I always say, find a bottle, open a bottle, enjoy the bottle, because good whiskey, even ones that are now $250, are always meant to be enjoyed. Thank you. Subscribe. Like I said, again, comment, let me know, and I will talk with you all soon. Cheers.